everyone, and welcome back. So I guess I'm fully rested now, and I'm going on to the second part of my objective for this day, which is discussing the manifold area of tanker ship, specifically the manifold area here. So as we all know, now manifold area to begin with is the connection between the ship, between the terminal and the ship when it comes to loading and discharging cargo. And of course, I'm taking the opportunity right now to discuss this on the fact that not all vloggers will be allowed to go inside or go near the manifold area. So anyway, I'm here to discuss the manifold area or the manifold structure of tanker ships. Now, like I said, continuing from what I mentioned earlier, the manifold area is almost present on all tanker ships, and manifold area or manifold platform is used to load and unload liquid cargoes in between the ship and the terminal. So almost all tanker ships, chemical tankers, product tankers, gas tankers, shuttle tankers, VLCCs, and crude oil all have manifold areas. Manifold area is typically located on the middlemost part of the ship. And like I said, it's located on the middle part of the ship. Now the manifold, how should I describe this? Now the number of manifold connection depends on the designs of ships. Some ships only have 3 manifold connections, some have 4, like this one, and others even have as many as 12 or 30, that is of course chemical tankers. Now we can distinguish what type of ship sometimes, or what kind of tanker ship sometimes a ship is based on the numbers of manifold connection it has on the middle part of this ship. Now typically product tankers, crude oil tankers, VLCCs, and sometimes even gas tankers only have at least a few manifold connections. The only distinct that has a lots of manifold connections is the chemical, because of course chemicals don't get mixed up. But since this is the one that I'm talking right now here is the manifold for crude oil, so we just basically had less manifold connections. So of course the first part of the manifold connections here is this one that I'm lighting up. This is what we call okay, I'm just gonna move right now here just to avoid security cameras. Well, actually the security camera right now isn't exactly pointing on the manifold area, so I'm free to take videos on it. So this part of this manifold connections here is the reducers. Now this reducer part of the manifold connection can be replaced or switched on with other reducers of different sizes. Like for this one, I didn't take a good look on what size is this, but the size of this one is 16 by 20. So we can replace that reducer connection from here or interchangeably. We just have to, of course, use the crane because this is very heavy, and we can't lift it only a single person or even 2 persons. We have to use machinery just to lift it and change the reducer connections. Now, you would like to ask, why change the reducer connections? Sometimes countries who have ship terminals have different connections, or sometimes if we're loading discharging connection, the connection on the other side the connection on the other side, either by ship or terminal, has different connections. So we have to change the size of our reducer connection. Sorry if I'm not very good at my English, but I try to explain things in English as much as possible, because I'm still practicing my English because I'm not a native English speaker. Anyway, so this is the connection from the manifold. Now this is the more like the wheel that we use to open the manifold connections. So we turn it to the left to open it, and we turn it to the right to close it. So from what you're looking at, there's an indication here if the manifold connection is open or closed. So we can see right now that it's shut because of the arrow, and there's a written stencil here that says it's shut. Now this is of course the main switch, or the main connection or valve that leads all the way up to the draft line. So if it's switched on, of course all the cargoes loaded or discharged will pass through on this what do you call this? On this connection. Now you might be asking, there are other, of course, several connections aside from this one that are connected to the manifold connection, such as this one, which is of course basically just a simple drain, a drain to drain the manifold connection. So you can see it's connected here all the way here to drain it on our what do you call this, strainer. Sorry, you sometimes get mental block when discussing things, so I apologize on that. So as a safety precaution or regulation, we have two valves here, just to make sure that if you want to drain the residual oil that is still stuck on our manifold connection, you just have to open these two valves. So okay, I'm just gonna move on a little bit. So there's one valve here that's kind of bit of what do you call this? Aside from this drain, there's another drain valve here that goes directly to the marble line. Now, this is basically the marble drain that we're looking at here. It goes all the way up here. It's all the way through that direction, going literally down to the starboard cargo tank, which is the designated what do you call this? I'm sorry if I have to say things in Tagalog, but it's more like it's used to drain the manifold connection. So we just have to open this. If this is basically called the marble drain, so if or basically just simply drain, manifold drain. So right now we're looking at the manifold number 1 marble drain. So once we drain this one, the residual oil that's left behind here goes all the way up here to okay, so there's a lot of tubes. So great, I guess this will be a very long discussion anyway. But anyway, it goes all the way up. Okay, just give me a moment. The tube connection goes all the way up down here, because this is the connection, or this is basically the drop area for oil, let's say residual oils that are left behind from the manifold connection. Of course, when we drain our manifold connections, there are two types of drains. One is via gravity type of drain, which basically all we have to do is just switch on the valves, two valves here, that is directly connected to the starboard tank. This valve over here and this valve over there. So two of them. So from the name itself, we're just going to use gravity to drain this, to drain those manifold connections. Another connection is using via Wilden pump. So how do we drain via Wilden pump, you might ask? Well, we open that valve first, this one, I'm pointing out on my flashlight, and we close this valve, this one. So the main flow point of the residual oil will probably go here and open this valve, which goes directly to this one, which is a Wilden pump. Unfortunately, it's kind of insulated right now, so we just cover it with some sort of asbestos just for insulation, but inside of it is a Wilden pump. And after that, this goes right here. We have to open this this valve, and it goes directly on here. So in other words, the connection, if we're going to drain via Wilden plant, is just basically just circumventing the pathway of the residual oil down here to the fore starboard. But the difference is that there's an assistance coming from a Wilden pump here to pump oil, all the oil that is left behind on the marple drain. Because sometimes the cargoes are too sticky that they get stuck and cannot go down directly via gravity. So yeah, so we use the what do you call this, the Wilden pump as an assistance to drain those marple, the marple drain. Now we also have another what do you call this, we have another connection here. Oh, sorry, I got hit my head with I got hit my head with a pipe. So we also have what we call a marple line here. This pipe here, which basically means that if we're already discharging cargo, it's used, from my understanding, of course, on my point of view, this is only used when we're discharging cargo and we're kind of like stripping the cargo tank or stripping it on its last remaining cargo oil. So on chemical tankers, they do the term called stripping, but here in an oil tanker, we use a marple line to strip all the oil cargo inside the cargo tank. Now it depends on what is being instructed on where the marple line will be connected. Say for example, we have a connection here to the terminal on this yellow line here, which is marple connection, manifold number 3. So if we want to use the marple line to manifold number 3, all we have to do is line it up directly to the manifold number 3. So how do we line this one up? So obviously the oil goes here, we open this valve, and then obviously the oil goes straight in here, all the way up here on sorry, I'm gonna use a flyer, all the way up here on this connection, directly goes up on here. We will open this marple drain for manifold 3, and it goes all the way up here on the manifold connection. So there, and then it's pumped up directly, goes to that direction to the terminal. Of course, do keep in mind that if we're going to line up our marple line connection here on the manifold, we have to close the main connection valve of the main manifold valve here. We have to switch this one off because there's a possibility that if we do not shut this valve off, the cargo will just go around back towards the cargo tank. So we need to shut this one, or to close this one, so that the stripping of the oil cargo goes directly to the terminal outside this connection. So like I said, I'm pointing out here on my flashlight, this is the marple line all the way up here on the connection, going up here to the manifold number 3. Of course, I am just saying this as an example. In real life or in real life work operations, it could be not only manifold number 3, sometimes it could be manifold number 1, manifold number 2, or maybe even manifold number 4, the one that I'm looking at here on my right side. So what else should I discuss with? Oh yeah, I'm just saying that part if we're discharging cargo. But if we're loading cargo, there's no need to use the marple line and this marple drain. Maybe perhaps use the marple drain, but if we're loading cargo, we just basically don't use the marple line. The cargo just goes straight directly to the cargo tank. However, when we're already disconnecting our connection from the terminal, there's always a small cargo that will be left behind on the manifold connection. So what we have to do to clear it out and to drain it is that we will use this marple drain here, marple drain, and then we open that valve, which in turn goes directly to the marble drain valve, which of course goes straight to what I mentioned a few moments ago on the manifold drain there on the fore starboard. Now on the port side, we also have the same connection. The only difference is that this is fore starboard. The residual cargo drain will go on the fore starboard, while of course on the port side it goes to the foreport cargo tank. That's a very long explanation, and I am having difficulty saying it in English. I should have mentioned this, or I should have discussed this in Tagalog. So anyway, from this point, I could mention it from Tagalog so that it could be, we have a more clarity of what I'm discussing with. Of course, for Tagalog, for Filipino seafarers. So yeah, just skip this part if you're not speaking a Tagalog language. So here it goes. So kung magdi-drink tayo ng cargo, sinasabi ko ito kung magdi-discharge kami, ang draining ng cargo, kadalasan pag nag-disconnecta na yun, yung connection sa terminal, may iwan pang kargamento dito na langis. So para matanggal yun, kailangan natin na buksan itong valvulang ito, which is the marble drain. Itong marble drain na to, bababa siya, pupunta dito direkta doon sa direkta dito sa connection ng marble drain nga pinapoint ko ng flashlight, papunta to sa fore starboard connection. Take note, ano lang to, ginagamit ito either for discharge, itong manifold drain na to, either discharging or loading cargo. Sa marble, yung marble line naman, ginagamit ito pag discharging para istripin niya at simutin yung kargamento sa loob ng tangke. So itong marble line na to, hindi siya pahigop na papunta, kundi papunta palabas, pinapalabas niya yung cargo na natitira. Tapos i-connecta siya kung anong sinabi ng official niyo, kung saan siya mako-connecta tong marble na connection na to. So pwede siya sa marble number 3, marble number 2, kung saan pa dadaanin, depende, basta ila-line up yun. Now halimbawa, for example, marble number 3, manifold connection number 3, ila-line up natin ang marble line dito papunta sa manifold connection number 3. Bubuksan natin to para direkta pumunta palabas. Ngayon kung palabas ito, siguraduhin din natin na ang connection ng manifold number 3, yung main connection niya ay nakasara para direkta siyang lumabas. Kasi kung hindi natin to isasara, iikot lang yung kargamento simula dito papunta at papasok pabalik sa tangke kung saan man tangke babanda. So yun ang silbi ng marble line para stripin yung connection ng natitirang kargamento doon pabalabas papuntang terminal. So yun, I've already explained it in Tagalog, so I hope Filipinos could understand that, because sometimes I have problems explaining things in English because I'm not a native English speaker. So anyway, I guess that's the part that I have to explain on the manifold area. Oh, one more thing that I have to explain, just a minor thing, is that we have an emergency switch in case there's a problem on the discharging of cargo. Of course, this is only effective if we're discharging cargo. We have an emergency switch box here. This is one. Unfortunately, right now it's covered with what do you call this? A tarpaulin cover, so we can't. But it's a big red box, a big red button inside of it, just to it serves as an emergency fail switch in case we have some failure on discharging cargo. It immediately stops all the cargo operations. So there. Okay, I'm just gonna say things more also in Tagalog, just to clarify. I think we could skip that part. I've already mentioned it on how we drain cargoes, residual cargoes, after loading and discharging. So I guess that'll be all. It's really difficult explaining things in English. I never thought it would be this difficult. But anyway, I explained it as much as I can right now. So there we go. That is the manifold area of our ship. So do keep in mind, all tankers have this same structure on their middle part. of their ship a manifold area. All tankers, gas, oil, all of it. Because it serves as a platform for loading. This is a very important platform for loading and discharging of cargoes on board the merchant ship. So there we go. I guess I've already made a lot of a very long explanation, or at least a simplified explanation on the point of view of a seafarer of what a manifold area is. Of course, on a tanker. So I'm not gonna delay any further on my vlog entry. So if you like my video, you can just like and press that like button. It will really help me a lot on the algorithm and the statistics. So again, this is Operator 60. Have a great day, everyone, and see you on my next vlog journal session. So bye bye for now.